Sometimes when our team gets to an emergency situation with animals, we are shocked by what we find. And this case was no different. We got a call from the local fire department who had just put out a fire in a tree. They said there were birds in the tree and they didn't want to harm them while putting out the flames. They were concerned about the smoke in the burning tree, so they called us to come and help. I'm not sure how long the birds had been up in the tree, but when we arrived, the fire department had already climbed up there and coaxed a few birds out. The few that came out were covered in soot and really scared. I couldn't imagine how scared they must have been with all that smoke and the heat. I could see where the fire was coming from. It was just above me, but I couldn't see anything else because it was completely dark. There was no light getting through all the smoke. All I could do was listen to the crackling of the burning tree and the birds freaking out. My rescuer partner started calling out to the birds to try and get them to come out. At this point, I could hear one bird that was just kind of making noise. It sounded like it was saying, "Hey." I thought it was amazing that we were able to communicate with this bird. That gave me hope that we could get them down. After a little bit, we heard some movement above us. Then we saw some feathers. Before we knew it, a small bird flew right past my face and landed on my rescuer partner's glove. Once he got the bird on his glove, he brought it closer to me so I could see it. This was a black-crowned night heron. I had never seen one up close before, so I was super excited. After we checked it over and made sure it was okay, we let it go, and it flew off into the night. Not long after that, we heard another bird flying around. This time, it was much bigger. When it flew past my head, I could feel the wind from its wings. This was a great blue heron. It kept flying around the tree and then flying off and then coming back. It was very anxious. My rescuer partner went up into the tree to try and coax it out, but it wouldn't come out. We were getting worried about this guy because the tree was smoldering and it was going to fall apart soon. Finally, my rescuer partner found a good spot and climbed up next to this heron. He talked to it very softly and slowly, and the heron actually calmed down a bit. After a few minutes, the heron took off and flew to my rescuer partner's glove. It was a beautiful sight. Unfortunately, this heron had some bad injuries. Its wing was bent at an awkward angle, and it looked like it had some burns on its chest. I don't think it would make it in the wild. As we were examining it, we realized there was something strange about this heron. As my rescuer partner cradled it, it pooped on him. It wasn't just a small poop either. This bird literally dumped its entire colon contents on my rescuer partner. We laughed about it, but we also thought it was pretty gross. I mean, who does that? I guess a scared, stressed out heron will do anything. We took the heron back to the car and put it in a box, and then we headed to the wildlife center. On the way, we stopped at a store so my rescuer partner could shower. When we got to the wildlife center, we turned the box over and the heron flew out. It was so cool to see it fly. It did great at the wildlife center. The staff took great care of it, and after a few weeks, it was ready for release. When it was time for release, we took it back to where we pulled it from the tree. We thought it was fitting that it should be released where it was found. Plus, we didn't want to scare the other birds if we brought it somewhere else. It was a bit of a sad day for us, because we had grown attached to this heron, but we were also happy that we were able to help it. At the end of the day, the herons were fine, but what about the tree? Well, that's where things got interesting. You see, when the fire department got called to the tree, they didn't know if anything was in it. They could see the smoke and the flames, but they couldn't see inside. Once they got there, they saw the birds, and they tried to get them out. But the birds wouldn't leave. The birds were obviously scared, but they weren't leaving the tree. The rescuers were worried that the birds would burn up or fall into the fire. It took quite a few rescuers to finally get the birds out. And they didn't just get 1 or 2 birds out. They ended up rescuing 23 birds. The birds were very scared, but thankfully none of them were hurt. The rescuers were surprised that the birds stayed in the tree as long as they did. They had never seen anything like it before. So why did the birds stay in the tree? Why didn't they fly away? You would think that they would be scared enough to fly away. Well, there's a reason why they stayed, and it has to do with their predator defense strategy. Birds will sometimes stay in a tree, even if it's on fire, because they think that the fire will scare off predators. The birds are more afraid of being eaten than they are of being burned, so they'll stay in the tree until the very last minute. In this case, the birds were probably scared of snakes. Snakes love to eat birds, so it's no wonder the birds didn't want to leave. The problem is that the birds can't always tell when a tree is about to fall. They just see the fire and they think that it will scare away the snakes. In this case, the tree did fall apart and the birds almost got crushed. But thankfully, the fire department and our team were there to save them. I think it's amazing that birds will do anything to protect themselves from predators. Even if it means staying in a burning tree, I don't think I would ever do that. What about you? Would you stay in a burning tree to protect yourself from a snake? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media. I post updates and photos there every day. You can also sign up for our email newsletter. We send out a monthly newsletter with updates and fun stuff. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.